Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Hi 2. Today we'll be covering pages 20 and 21. Well, may I ask you to open your books to page 20? Reading and speaking. Exercise 4A. With a partner, discuss the following questions. Question A. What are sleep disorders? Well, as you may know, disorder is a kind of illness. Well, guys, sleep disorders include, let's say, illnesses like insomnia, I don't know, sleepwalking, sleep talking, sleep terror, and etc. Sleep disorders can be really serious, can just cause great and big problems, not only for the sleeper but also for the others that the sleeper comes in contact with. Number two, have you ever heard of any sleep-related crimes? Once I heard about a guy who just sleepwalked a couple of miles to just commit a crime. Some people commit suicide while sleepwalking, so it can be so serious and dangerous. Next question: do you suffer from sleep problems? Well, personally speaking, I suffer from insomnia at times. I find it difficult to go to sleep. I just lie in my bed, just awake. It takes hours to go to sleep, and sometimes, but not so often, I have some nightmares, but it's not a big deal. But generally, I'm an insomniac, someone who suffers from insomnia. And the last one, how can sleep deprivation or any other sleep disorders cause problems in life? Sleep deprivation, guys, means lack of sleep. Okay, sleep deprivation, and sleep disorders, illnesses related to sleep. Well, if you don't get enough sleep, it can cause serious health and psychological problems. You may just feel fatigued and exhausted. People who are sleep deprived are kind of temperamental and moody. They feel out of energy. They are not approachable at all. Tired and exhausted. Let's say they have some personal issues, and of course it can cause a lot of relationship problems, so it can be so serious and dangerous. 4B. Read the passage. Sleep forensics. Sleep forensics is the use of sleep medicine, science, and expertise in the investigation of violent, strange, and irrational behavior related to sleep, and crimes that may stem from these behaviors. So, sleep forensics. Everyone, forensic is the use of scientific tests to solve crimes, to solve problems. So, sleep forensics is the use of sleep medicine, science, and expertise. So, in sleep forensics, we use sleep medicine, sleep drugs, we use science, and we use expertise. Expertise means knowledge or skill in the investigation of, to investigate, to probe violent, strange, and irrational behavior. So, we investigate behavior that is violent, that is strange, weird, and that is irrational. Anyone, irrational means not sensible, unreasonable. It is opposite of rational. So, irrational behavior related to sleep, about sleep, and of course we use sleep forensics to investigate crimes that may stem from these behaviors. Stem from means be the result of. So these behaviors again refers to violent, strange, and irrational behavior. So such behaviors can cause crimes. Yet, there is room for a sleep specialist character on your favorite crime procedural show. Experts who work in the field of sleep forensic medicine make contributions to investigations and legal cases in a number of different ways. They perform medical examinations and sleep studies and make diagnoses for sleep and sleep-related disorders. They work with law enforcement and legal professionals on cases where sleep may be a factor. They provide expert testimony for criminal and civil trials. They also research and study the latest in sleep science and other physical and psychological conditions that might contribute to violent and dangerous behavior. Yet means yes, there is room. There is room means we need, there is the possibility, there is the opportunity. We need a sleep specialist character, someone who knows about sleep and sleep-related problems. So we need a sleep specialist character, a sleep expert on your favorite crime procedural show. Show means program. Well, procedural means connected with a procedure. Yeah? Connected with a procedure. So there is room. We need a sleep specialist on our crime procedural program. Experts who work in the field of sleep forensic medicine. Expert means professionals, people who know a lot about something. So experts who work in the field of sleep forensic. Well, forensic is the adjective of forensics. Forensic medicine make contributions. They contribute, they help to investigations, to investigate, to look for, to probe, so to investigations and legal cases. Everyone, legal means related with the law. Legal cases, in courts we have a lot of legal cases, problems, in a number of different ways. In a number of different ways, in many various ways. They perform medical examinations. Well, they, everyone, here means experts. Experts perform, they do medical examinations, they examine. And sleep studies, they study sleep, so they perform sleep studies and make diagnoses. Diagnoses, everyone, means trying to find out the cause of an illness, the cause of a problem. So they make diagnoses. It is the plural form of diagnosis. Diagnosis. By the way, the word form is diagnose. 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 So they make diagnoses, they diagnose sleep and sleep-related disorders. So they try to find the causes, the reasons of sleep disorders, sleep illnesses, problems, and sleep-related disorders, sleep-related problems. They work with law enforcement and legal professionals. Everyone, experts in the field of sleep forensic medicine, these experts work with law enforcement professionals. Law enforcement professionals. Think about, I don't know, police officers, detectives, and legal professionals. Legal professionals can be people like lawyers, judges. So they work with police officers, with judges, on legal cases where sleep may be a factor. So on sleep cases in which sleep is a cause. So may be a factor. They are just working on cases that are related to sleep disorders and problems or crime committed because of sleep, lack of sleep and sleep disorders. They provide expert testimony. So these guys, they offer expert testimony, professional proof, evidence for criminal and civil trials. Well, criminal is related to crime. Civil, everyone, means related to private arguments between people. Okay, between people. So they give expert testimony for criminal and civil trials, arguments between people. Civil and criminal is related to crime. They also research and study the latest in sleep science. These people, these experts, also research and study the latest, let's say, news, knowledge in sleep science and other physical and psychological conditions. So they also research and study other physical and psychological. Psychological is the adjective form of psychology. Psychological conditions, situations that might contribute, that might help, that might result in violent and dangerous behavior. Violent and dangerous behavior. Okay, what could lead a sleeping person to enact dangerous, violent behavior while in some state of sleep? The answer to that question is deeply complicated. You'll often hear the term parasomnia in connection with sleep-related. So, what could result in a sleeping person to enact? Enact means act, to do something. So, to enact dangerous or violent behavior, violent, cruel behavior, while in some stage of sleep. While in some stage of sleep means while or when this person is just sleeping. So, how can it happen? How can a sleeper enact dangerous and violent behavior? The answer to that question is deeply complicated. So, the answer is really difficult to understand. The answer is complex. You'll often hear the term parasomnia. You often hear the term. Term here means expression, phrase. Parasomnia in connection with, related or concerning or involving sleep-related violence. So, everyone, by the way, parasomnia is a kind of sleep disorder. So when we talk about sleep-related violence, you sometimes hear the expression parasomnia. Parasomnias are a broad category of disorders and conditions that disrupt sleep and lead to unwanted behaviors, psychological states, and experiences related to sleep. There are many types of parasomnias, and collectively, parasomnias occur in an estimated 10% of general population. The range of parasomnias is wide. Sleep talking is a parasomnia, and so are sleep eating and sleep terrors. So, what are parasomnias? Parasomnias are a broad category. Broad means wide, general category, group of disorders, illnesses, sicknesses, and conditions, situations that disrupt sleep. They stop, prevent sleep, and lead to, result in, make something happen, they cause unwanted behaviors. So, they cause unwanted behaviors, they cause psychological states, situations, and experiences related to sleep. And they cause experiences, episodes related to sleep, about sleep. There are many types of parasomnias. So, we have different kinds of parasomnias. And collectively means as a group, all together, parasomnias happen, take place in an estimated 10% of general population. Estimated means around, about, approximately. So everyone, 10% of the population suffers from parasomnias. The range of parasomnias is wide. So the range of parasomnias is broad, is wide. Sleepwalking is a parasomnia. Sleepwalking is a parasomnia, and so are sleep eating and sleep terror. Terror means great, extreme fear. So, guys, sleepwalking is a parasomnia, and sleep eating while you are asleep, and sleep terrors are parasomnias too. Okay, next part. Several parasomnias carry risk for sleep-related accidents and injury to the sleeper and to other people the sleeper comes in contact with. Parasomnias can be caused by sleep disorders, medical conditions, both physical and psychological, and interactions with medications, drugs, and alcohol, or for reasons sleep physicians can't identify. There appears to be a strong genetic connection to some parasomnias, including sleepwalking. You might think criminal cases that require an expert happen once in a blue moon. Not so. While not common, sleep-related crimes happen more often than you may think. Okay, well, several parasomnias carry risks for sleep-related accidents and injuries. So, they carry risks, they are dangerous. They carry risks for sleep-related accidents and injury. So, they carry risks to the sleeper and to other people the sleeper comes in contact with. So, guys, parasomnias can be risky, can be dangerous, not only to the sleeper, but also to the people that the sleeper comes in contact with. The sleeper, let's say, interacts with. Parasomnias can be caused by sleep disorders. So these are the causes of parasomnias, why parasomnias happen. So sleep disorders can cause parasomnias. Medical conditions, both physical and psychological. So both physical and psychological medical conditions can cause parasomnias. And interactions with medications. You know, interactions with medications, some people are on medications, they take medicines. So this can be a cause. Some people take drugs, unfortunately. Some people use alcohol, drink alcohol. So all these can just trigger, can give rise to parasomnias. Or for some reason, or for reasons, some physicians can't identify. Physician here means doctor, expert. So, everyone, besides the interactions with medications, drugs, and alcohol, there are some other reasons which sleep physicians, sleep experts cannot identify. So, there are other factors involved. There appears to be a strong genetic connection to some parasomnias. You know, genetic is related to genes. So, some parasomnias occur or happen because of some genetic connections, including sleepwalking, such as sleepwalking. Okay? You might think criminal cases that require an expert in sleep happened once in a blue moon. So you may think criminal cases, cases that are related to committing crimes, require an expert in sleep. So cases that need an expert in sleep happen once in a blue moon. You may think such crimes rarely happen, hardly ever, scarcely happen. Not so. It is not so. You thought wrong. You are mistaken. These cases happen quite often. So, not so, it is not the way you think. It is not like that. You are mistaken. While not common, although it is not common, although it is not usual, sleep-related crimes happen more often than you may think. So I'm afraid sleep-related crimes, crimes that happen because of sleep, happen more often than you may think. They're kind of common. They don't happen once in a blue moon. They are not rare. Well, breakthroughs in sleep science have deepened our understanding of intricacies of sleep and the complex, porous lines between sleeping and waking. Forensic experts point out that what we now identify as sleep-related violence can be mistaken for intentional violence against oneself or others. The earliest criminal case in the U.S. Involving the so-called sleepwalking defense came in 1846. A man named Albert Terrell was found not guilty of killing his wife and setting fire to their dwelling in Boston. Terrell's defense claimed he was a sleepwalker with a history of agitated and violent behavior during sleepwalking episodes that began when he was a young child. So, breakthroughs, discoveries, advances in the sleep science have deepened, have improved our understanding of intricacy of sleep, the complicated details of sleep. So, recently, thanks to technology and breakthroughs in the sleep science, we know more about the intricacies, about the details of sleep. And the complex, the difficult, the complicated, porous lines between sleeping and waking. Okay, porous lines means just the small differences between between sleeping and waking. So, because of technology, nowadays we know enough, let's say, about the differences between sleeping and waking. Forensic experts point out that, mention that, they declare, they state that what we now identify, what we now know, what we now consider as sleep-related violence, what we now call sleep-related violence, can be mistaken, can be misunderstood, can be just confused for intentional violence against oneself or others. We can easily misunderstand it for intentional, for deliberate, for on purpose violence against oneself, against a person, or others, against other people. All right. The earliest criminal case in the U.S. involving the so-called sleepwalking defense came in 1846. So we had the first case of sleepwalking defense in the US. So the earliest criminal case, the first criminal case in the US involving related to the so-called named sleepwalking defense came in for 1846. So we had the first case of sleepwalking defense in 1846 in the US. A man named Albert Terrell was found not guilty of killing his wife. So this guy, Albert Terrell, a man called Albert Terrell, was found not guilty. He was acquitted. He was found not guilty of killing his wife. So Albert killed his wife. He set fire to their dwelling. Dwelling, everyone, here means house, place. He set fire, he committed arson to their dwelling in Boston. Boston is a city in Massachusetts, USA. So, Mr. Albert Terrell killed his wife. He set fire to their house in Boston, and believe it or not, he was acquitted. He was found not guilty. Terrell's defense claimed, everyone, defense here means lawyers. Lawyers. So, Mr. Terrell's lawyers claimed, they stated that he was a sleepwalker, that Albert was a sleepwalker with a history of agitated and violent behavior, and he had a history of agitated. Agitated, remember, means nervous, anxious. So agitated and violent behavior during sleepwalking episodes, sleepwalking events that began when he was a child. So according to Terrell's defense, Terrell's lawyers, he suffered from some sleep disorders. These disorders began when he was a child, and he had a history of some sleepwalking problems, and the result, he was acquitted. One of the most famous cases of sleep-related crime, and a case that in some ways echoes Albert Terrell's, is that of Kenneth Parks. In 1987, Parks rose one night from bed, drove roughly 14 miles to his in-laws' house, and assaulted them. He bludgeoned his mother-in-law to death and attacked his father-in-law. Poor guys. Who survived? Parks then drove to a local police station and confessed to the killing. Parks said he'd been sleepwalking the entire time, through the drive, through the attack, and even at the police station. So, one of the most famous cases of sleep-related crime, and a case that in some ways echoes means repeats, to shows, reflects, Albert Terrell, is that of Kenneth Parks. So there's another case of sleep-related crime, and it is related to Mr. Kenneth Parks. Okay, let's see what happened. Well, in 1987, Parks rose one night from bed. So in 1987, Mr. Parks got up from his bed. So while he was sleeping, he rose, he got up. Drove roughly 14 miles to his in-laws' house. And he drove approximately about 14 miles. Where did he drive to? He went to his in-laws' house. Everyone, in-laws means your spouse's family, your wife's or your husband's family. So he drove to his wife's family house and assaulted them and attacked them. He attacked his in-laws, his mother-in-law, his father-in-law. He bludgeoned, Mr. Parks bludgeoned his mother-in-law to death. Remember, bludgeon means to hit someone with something heavy. So he killed or he murdered his mother-in-law by hitting her hard and attacked his father-in-law. He also attacked his father-in-law who survived. So could he kill his father-in-law? No. The father-in-law survived. He stayed alive. Mr. Parks, then drove to a local police station and confessed to the killings. So he went to a police station and he admitted, he acknowledged that he had committed a crime. Okay? Parks said he had been sleepwalking the entire time. Wow, so unbelievable. Come on. He drove 14 miles. Let's say he sleep drove, let's say, 14 miles. He just killed his poor mother-in-law and injured his poor father-in-law, and he was just sleepwalking. So unbelievable. So he had been sleepwalking the entire time, the whole time, through the drive. Through the drive means while he was driving, through the attack, while he just attacked his in-laws, and even at the police station. Guys, he claimed that he was sleepwalking even when he went to the police station and he confessed to his crime. He confessed to killing his mother-in-law. So weird. Okay, let's go on. Well, he said he hadn't been aware of what he was doing and had only trace memories of the events. Parks had a long history dating back to his childhood of complex and extended sleepwalking episodes triggered by stress. Around the time of the killings, Parks was under significant stress. He had a serious gambling problem, he had been fired from his job, and was facing embezzlement charges. Parks underwent sleep testing that showed irregular brain activity during sleep, which were consistent with some type of parasomnia. Also, when he arrived at the police station, Parks had serious wounds to both his hands, but police said he did not. Okay, so he said this guy, Kenneth Park, he said he hadn't been aware of what he was doing. He hadn't been aware of, he didn't know what he was doing, and had only trace memories of the events. Trace memories means had some vague memories. He couldn't clearly remember what had happened. Okay, so he had only trace memories. He had some vague memories he couldn't remember. Parks had a long history of complex and extended sleepwalking episodes. So he had a long history. He suffered from complex and extended long sleepwalking episodes triggered by stress, caused by stress, which dated back to his childhood. Dated back. It was related to his childhood. Okay? Dated back to his childhood. So, he had been having all these problems since her childhood. Around the time of the killings, when he went to his in-laws' house, Parks was under significant stress, a lot of stress. He was feeling really stressed out. He had a serious gambling problem. Parks had a serious gambling problem. You know, gambling is this kind of game we play to win and, of course, in most cases lose money. He had been fired from his job. He had lost his job. He had been axed. He had been laid off and was facing embezzlement charges. And they said he had embezzled some money. So he was under significant stress. Parks underwent sleep testing. So everyone, they did some tests on him that showed irregular brain activity during his sleep. And these tests showed some irregular, not usual brain activities during his sleep, which were consistent with some type of parasomnia. These activities, everyone, matched with some type of parasomnia. Also, besides, when he arrived at the police station, remember, after the killings, he went to the police station to make a confession. So when he arrived at the police station, Parks had serious wounds to both his hands. He had serious injuries to both his hands. But police said he did not appear to be experiencing pain. So according to the police, he didn't he didn't feel any pain. He didn't feel anything. Okay, guys, let's just call it a day up to here, okay? We will continue the rest of the text next session, okay? So make sure to watch our next episode to get the rest of the reading passage. So until next session,